A very good morning, all of you. How are you? Welcome back to our regular place. Alright. Now, today we are going to learn something in English. Okay. We have just completed chapter number 10, Helen Keller. Right? The thing is that what we are going to learn today, the question. Yes, of course, exercise of Helen Keller that we will see in our online videos. But let's see one interesting topic, one interesting chapter. That is poem 6. Okay, that is poem 6. The name you might have not heard before, but it's a very nice name. The name of this poem is Hiawatha. The name of the poem is Hiawatha. Hiawatha, right? It's a name, proper noun. It's a proper noun, Hiawatha. Now, what is there in this poem? Poem 6, Hiawatha. Now, everybody is familiar with all kind of animals, right? All kind of animals. Today I want you to sit with your textbook. Okay, everybody will be sitting with your textbooks. Okay. Now we all know all kind of animals. So how means which are the types of animals that you know? There are two types. Okay. One type that is domestic animals, right? And second one that is wild animals. We all know domestic animals and wild animals. Now, do you really think that just like us, like human, they can communicate, means they talk? Do you really think so? Animals, birds, do you really think that yes, they have their own languages just like us, right? If your answer is yes, then you are absolutely right. They use language, but it is their own language, right? They communicate in their own languages, just like human. But the thing is that we cannot understand them, or we cannot understand their language, right? Sometimes we understand the body language of the animals or the birds, right? But what they exactly want to say, sometimes we may, sometimes we have failed to understand that, right? Because it is their own language. Here in this poem, the central character is Hiawatha. Hiawatha is a boy, right? Who was grown up in the jungle. Now, how he was grown up, what he learnt in the jungle, what he did with the animals, how he passed the time in the jungle, that we are going to see today in our video, right? So let's see. As I told you that I want you to sit with your textbook. Let's see the first lines, upper side. Hiawatha was a young red Indian boy. Red Indian is a kind of people who live in USA, in America. They live in America. What is the story behind that? That some people started journey to search India, right? But what happened, instead of going into east, in the direction of east, they reached west, and West America is situated, and they called that place India. And they themselves, they were considered themselves as Indian. And due to the atmosphere, right, The skin, the color of the skin was bit reddish, red color. So that's why they are known as Red Indian. So this is the story behind that. He lived with his old grandmother. Hiawatha was living with his old grandmother. Now what is the grandmother's name? The name of grandmother was Nicomis. The name of the grandmother was Nicomis, right? Sorry, that is Nokomis. My fault actually. The name of his grandmother was Nokomis, right? Nokomis. Grandmother. Right? Hiawatha is the central character, main character. Nokomis is his grandmother in a wigwam. In a wigwam. Wigwam. Wigwam means hut, right? It's kind of hut. You might have heard of that, you know. This is hut. And as you can see in your textbook, it's just like right? Something like that, right? That is wigwam, hut, you know, kind of hut. So Hiawatha and his grandmother both were living in the wigwam. Nokomis taught Hiawatha about the wonders around them. She told him about the stars, the trees, the insects, the birds, the animals, and many other things. Nokomis, Hiawatha's grandmother, she taught Hiawatha all the wonders in the world. She told him about the birds, animals, you know, insects, then stars, and many other wonders, right, around the world, around them. So Hiawatha was little bit, you know, curious boy. He was little bit curious. He liked to know something. Whatever Nokomis was teaching him or telling him, he was very curious that okay, then what is that? If it is that, then why is like that? You know, eagerness. He had that eagerness. Hiawatha grew up to love them all. As he was growing up, he loved all the animals and the birds. He could talk to birds and the animals and they to him. Now in the beginning, as I said, we cannot understand the language of the animals as well as birds. But as Hiawatha was growing up around the animals and the birds, so he could understand their language. He could talk to them. He could talk to birds. He could talk to animals. And even they talk to them. Wonderful. Now here, the first stanza that we will take. Okay students, now let's begin our first stanza. The first stanza of the poem Hiawatha. Right? It's a name, as we have learned, it's a name of a boy. Right? Now let's start our poem. Then the little Hiawatha learnt of every bird its language. When he was growing up, and slowly he started learning the bird's language. He started understanding the bird's language. Then the little Hiawatha was growing, learned of every bird You know, even in ourselves, means in human beings, in every state, right, they have their own languages. Gujarati, Hindi, Marathi, Tamil, Telugu, right? So here each and every bird has their own languages. It is not one type of language that they speak. Even they have different kind of languages. And the interesting thing is that Hiawatha, you know, he started learning all these languages and he started understanding it. Learns their names and all their secrets. Hiawatha even started learn their names. When he was growing up, he started learning. He started understanding the language. At one stage, at one age, means, you know, when he was growing up, at one time he understood everything. He learned everything. The bird's language, their names. Each and every bird has their names, right? Their own names. We are, you know, identify the birds with their names. So here Hiawatha also understood. He learned the names even of all the birds and all their secrets. All their secrets, which only birds know. Human beings, they don't understand how they behave. If something that they are doing, why do they do? It is their own secrets. But here, Hiawatha learns even all the secrets. Which kind of secrets? How they build their nests in summer. The birds, they build nests, right, to live in. We have the houses. The nest is their houses, the birds' houses. So Hiawatha learns the secrets, how they build the nest in the summer, how they build their nest in summer, where they hid themselves in winter. In the nest in summer they build, and in winter when it is too cold they get into the nest. He found out how they have built Hiawatha, right? So that's the secret of building the nest in the summer, and how they hid himself, means the bird, in the nest. In which season? In winter season, where they hid themselves in winter. Talk with them wherever he met them. In human being we can see it is general, right? If we are familiar with any person, if he or she meets us, what happens? We start talking to them, right? Hi, how are you? After a long time that we have met. Same like in birds, in animals also, when they meet, they talk. So here, Hiawatha talked with them whenever he met them. This is the short form. Whenever he met them. So when Hiawatha used to walk in the jungle, and when he met any animal or bird, now since he understood their languages, so when he met them, they started talking with them, right? Especially birds. Called them Hiawatha's chicken. So he was very fond of birds. He was very fond of birds. He liked himself to be around the birds because he knew everything about the birds, and he was considered that all birds are his chicken, right? All the birds are his chicken. Hiawatha's chickens. Even all the other birds and other animals also knew that. birds are Hiawatha's chickens. Yeah, Hiawatha's birds. Right? So this is the first stanza. It was all about the birds. Hiawatha and the birds. Okay? So in this video, this is the first, the first stanza that we have learnt, right? We have gone through the first lines. Hiawatha, he was a red Indian boy, alright? He lived with his grandmother Nokomis, right? There in wigwam, in a hut, okay? And then his grandmother, told everything about the wonders around them, about birds, animals, insects, stars, right? And he brought up, means he was grown up in the jungle around the animals and the birds, so he knew everything about them, all the secrets. So in the first stanza that we have gone through, right, and we learned about the birds, their languages. Hiawatha came to know the secret when they build nests, and in winter where they are hiding themselves in the nest, right? Because it is too cool outside. So inside the nest it is warmer than outside, and that's why all the birds are known as Hiawatha's chickens, right? So this is the first stanza that we are going to consider in this video. In our next video, we'll be having another stanza, right? I hope that you have understood. So until we meet next time, till then, do take very good care of yourself.